I'm Amy Rose White. I'm a psychotherapist making videos on healing from trauma and creating sacred relationships. Today I want to talk about why you, meaning we, because it's a lot of us, keep attracting the wrong partner and how to stop. So, spoiler alert, you don't. You're never going to stop attracting the wrong partner. Now, bear with me. If you're an interesting, motivated, dynamic person who's interested in self-improvement and is a love-driven being, you are probably always going to attract people that are not right for you, because that's just how it is. You're a bright light in the sky and people want to look and people want to come be part of that. So the problem with that question is that it is focused on the wrong person in the dynamic. And so much healing, I can promise you, happens when we flip that question around and ask ourselves, why do I keep being attracted to someone who isn't right for me? Why do I keep being attracted to abusive dynamics, or to unavailable people, or to people unwilling to commit, or people who are hot and cold, or people who I feel confused with or anxious around all the time? Now, I know that that's unpleasant to hear, but the beautiful thing about this is that all the power lies within ourselves and our own intrapsychic dynamics and understanding of why we do what we do in relationship. And from that place, we begin to be very discerning and recognizing why it is that we're attracted to certain dynamics. And over time, using some of the skills I'm going to talk about today, actually literally change who and what situations we are attracted to. And when that happens, it becomes so much easier to simply say no thanks with an open heart to the wrong people. Not because they're bad or evil or are out to get us, although occasionally one can be targeted by someone who wishes to do us harm. But in the vast majority of cases, we're simply going to be strengthening our inner relationship to a point where people that don't meet the standards of availability, willingness, and interest in committing the same values that you have, if that's what you want, those people just won't be interesting to us anymore once we change on the inside. That is the promise of this work. Now, you're probably familiar with something that in the mental health field we call repetition compulsion, which is just a very kind of fancy, distancing, elitist kind of word for the deep desire that our unresolved wounded parts, usually from early childhood, have to reenact really similar dynamics from our past in present time with the hopes of getting a different result. The unconditional love, approval, warmth, affection, all those things that maybe we didn't get from a primary caregiver. Repetition compulsion will drive our choices and attractions in relationship until we become aware of those patterns. Now, I will tell you that you can spend a lifetime in therapy and a lot of time and money trying to understand why. And although some insight into that can be really, really helpful and useful, it is far more effective, in my experience, both professionally and personally, to focus on tools and practices related to changing those dynamics in real time, as opposed to going back and rehashing the past over and over again. So what do I mean by this? Well, for example, if you know that you grew up, say, in a household where your father was unfaithful to your mom and he traveled a lot and wasn't home very often, you may unconsciously be attracted to dynamics where that person is different enough to not be a dead ringer for your father, but similar enough to evoke those wounds. And in a healthy relationship, there might be just enough of that to provoke healing, because your nervous system might perceive that this person is unavailable when really they actually are available, but they have really good boundaries. And instead of repeating the dynamic, we can actually do a lot of healing and self-soothing in that. However, from a repetition compulsion standpoint, if we aren't aware that that person might be evocative of the past dynamic, then we're likely to just keep choosing people in hopes that we're going to achieve something different. But the main thing that shifts us out of that dynamic is to recognize that if one of the patterns that we have is choosing someone that's abusive or unavailable or unwilling to commit or cheats regularly or is otherwise critical or harmful to us in some way, not only is that person unavailable for healthy love, but so are we. Because the secret here is we're only going to tolerate the treatment that we are offering ourselves. This is the most key takeaway that I can offer you. And it took me an unreasonably long time to figure this out in my own life and break my own relational patterns around that. And that's because if we do have some really significant fundamental emotional, physical, unmet needs in early childhood, it takes often a lifetime to learn that we are actually worthy and deserving of meeting those needs, both for ourselves and in all the kinds of relationships that we have in our lives, from how our children treat us, to our friends, to our colleagues, to our bosses and coworkers, to our intimate partners. So that self-concept work is the biggest tool that we have, not only to work on, am I worthy and deserving of what kind of behavior? Because then if someone comes into your life and treats you like crap, if you're no longer treating yourself like crap, if you're practicing the tools I'm about to teach you, that person will just automatically get filtered right out of the system. However, that filtering out process is only made possible through a really deep commitment to personal practice. Now, I don't believe we need to be all perfectly healed and love ourselves unconditionally and never have any self-critical thoughts or difficult, judgments of ourselves to not only attract, but to choose and be attracted to a healthy person for intimate relating. But I do think that if we haven't practiced our receiving muscle, which is what is really, really necessary to be able to really welcome and acknowledge and thus be attracted to someone who is available and present and makes time for you and wants to genuinely get to know you and has a depth of curiosity about who you are. If you haven't practiced receiving that from yourself, we will automatically reject that. We will push that away. We will receive that as boring or desperate or clingy or needy or something that we have unresolved in ourselves around intimacy. So, as you know, my channel is largely about spiritual partnership and sacred intimacy with self, divine, and other. In romantic partnerships specifically, because I love working with people about that. And I love my own healing journey around those issues, because I never thought I could change those patterns. And in the last 5 years, I absolutely have. So what building intimacy looks like is actually taking the time to do the things that are hardest to do and we're least likely to be attracted to if we've consistently been picking the wrong partner. So to change what we're attracted to, we have to actually practice in the mirror every day. Yes, that's you. Deep intimacy with ourselves. And usually the first thing that people tell me when I suggest this is like, oh my gosh, you want me to look in the mirror? I'm going to see all my flaws and my wrinkles. And I know for me, it's like when my white hair starts to grow in, it's like my eyes automatically go to the aging process and all those things that are really hard. But if you want to attract someone that loves you way beyond all this surface stuff that is just a temporary container for our beautiful, bright, and eternal soul, you have to practice it. We have to practice it, and it can be done. So I'm going to give you the four parts of my favorite intimacy building practice. I actually do this for 20 or 30 minutes every single day, in addition to many other things that are part of my own spiritual practice and healing journey and tools that I use with myself every day. And I promise you, if you commit to 3 weeks of doing this, building up from maybe 2 minutes to 5 minutes to 10 minutes a day, that will radically change who you are attracted to forever. And I'm not joking. It doesn't mean that you might not be kind of curious or compelled, or, some interesting person comes by that gives you some breadcrumbs of attention and that doesn't catch your eye for maybe 1 second, but it will literally be 1 second. Or you'll immediately learn. Over time, you will immediately discern the people that are really going to be nourishing for your heart and provide depth of connection versus those that are either just very surface level or truly not available or at worst harmful for you. So as you may know, I am a devoted student of the Yoga of Intimacy, which is a trademarked spiritual partnership path created by Justin Patrick Pierce and London Angel Winters, two of my favorite teachers. And they have taught me the practice I'm going to share with you right now. So you start by looking into your left eye, and you want to point at that one, figure out which one it is, and look into the mirror. Now, if you're a trauma survivor, sometimes looking in the mirror is too confronting, too overwhelming. And if you start to disassociate or feel like it's just too much, then just start doing this with yourself without the mirror and build up towards the mirror for 30 seconds to a minute. And then you can increase that time. And of course, if this is really just like throwing you into a tizzy to even think about, talk about it with your therapist, coach or counselor, spiritual advisor of whatever kind you choose. So you start with the left eye and you have an open body posture. You deepen your breath and you simply just make eye contact. I can promise you, if you learn to make eye contact with yourself, you will be attracted to a deep person. You will be attracted to deep friends. But if you avoid yourself, if you can only focus on the negative that you see in yourself, it will be impossible to receive the deepest love you desire. So you begin with I see. And here's the caveat. You have to use only kind eyes. Kind eyes only. And that's a struggle, but you can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. So you might set a timer, and for a minute, you're just going to say, I see with kind eyes. I see an open-hearted person who just wants love like everyone else. I see compassion. I see a willingness to commit to these practices. I see a huge heart. I see someone who's been hurt. I see, and you just keep going on and on with what you really see in yourself in the right now moment. And some days that might be, I see exhaustion and fatigue. I see overwhelm and sadness. I see grief that threatens to take over your whole body right now. As long as it's with kind eyes, I can't tell you how profound this exercise is. And then I want you to flip over into I feel. I feel because, so I feel overwhelmed because I keep making these choices and I don't understand why. I feel so sad because I long to share my life with someone. I feel like my heart is exploding with love for the world today, or grief, or heartache. So you continue doing I see and I feel. You can go back and forth, or you could set a timer just for one and then just for the other. I guess they're third and fourth that you can add on to this is I love and I trust. So then spend some time saying legitimately, find some things. And if there's big pauses because you're learning how to really connect with yourself at a deep level, it's fine. So I love that you watched this woman's video and you're giving this stuff a try. I love that you keep showing up for me. So you're talking to yourself as if you are the most loving, devoted, ideal partner that you could possibly imagine. That's the point of this. I love this about you. I love that about you. I love your ever-expanding heart. I love how much you give to others. I love that you're learning to receive. I love that you haven't given up on yourself. Things like this. And then probably most important, especially if you are of the more receptive leaning or omega or feminine archetype in your nervous system, I trust. So this can be really challenging, especially in the times that we live in right now. But I trust. What do you trust? If anything, it could be something about you. It could be about life. Sometimes I have mornings where I trust that the sun will come up every morning. That's like all I can grasp for. I trust that I show up here every day for myself. I trust gravity. I trust this chair right here. I trust my higher power or the universe. I trust there might be a reason for all this madness in my life right now, or whatever is going on for you. So I see, I feel, I love, I trust. Do this for 5, 10, 15. You don't have to do it for 30 minutes like I do. It's taken me years to get to the point where it is so much more nourishing for me to take that time than to not take the time. And my kids are grown, so I haven't. It doesn't have to be that long to make a significant impact in who you are attracted to. And when that changes, you'll either learn to be really, really fulfilled and deeply met while you're living your life in the meantime until someone wonderful comes into your life, or you will really know exactly who is and who isn't for you. And you're going to have a much greater likelihood of amplifying, if you are in an existing relationship with someone who is good for you, to actually be able to receive that love and intensify the depth of connection and intimacy that you already have, and can potentially embark on an even deeper journey together. I hope this is useful for you. Please subscribe and share if that's meaningful. You think other people in your world would appreciate this video. And let me know what else you'd like me to talk about in the comments below. Until next time, may you be well, may you be safe, may you be free from harm, and may all beings truly know love. Bye for now.